Hi friends, my name is Haley. Comment and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today a little different. So at the time of filming this, Mercury is stationing retrograde in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is associated with the past, and Mercury retrograde is an invitation inward to review the past. So when contemplating what to film today, I remembered that about 7 months ago, I was featured on another YouTuber's channel, Graham Stephan. I'm such a fan of his work. It was during a time that I was really getting into personal finance, and I'm so thankful that I found his channel. And I, at the time of calling into his show, was overwhelmed. I was working 9 jobs, one of which was obviously being an astrologer, and I needed his guidance in what to kind of let go of in order to maximize my energy and my time. So he had me on the show. I haven't watched it since, just because I just such secondhand embarrassment, honestly. I was so nervous. Like, imagine watching someone every day and then, okay, not every day, I don't want to be creepy. Imagine watching someone all the time, like really drawing a lot of inspiration, and then you're on the phone and you hear their voice on the other end, but you're not watching a YouTube video, they're talking to you. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like a lot to handle right now. So I had major secondhand embarrassment because as you'll see, I was a nervous wreck in this video. But let's react to my episode on the Graham Stephan Show where he gives me advice on I work 9 jobs and have no free time.
Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. My name is Graham. Welcome to my show. And today we have a caller coming on. Her name is Haley. She has 9 jobs that she works at, ranging from a few hours a week to 10, 12 hours a week. She wants to know how to handle the 12 jobs because it's starting to get overwhelming, where she should cut back, where she should focus her time. She's also an astrologer. So with that, I think I'm going to be asking her about my horoscope and exactly what I'm going to have to deal with, because millennial money has not been good lately. So maybe the astrology has something to say about that. So anyway, let's bring her on and see what's going on. Haley, welcome to the Graham Stephan Show. What's going on?
Thank you for having me, Graham. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, happy to.
Does anyone else, when they like listen to themselves on anything recorded, they just like hate the sound of their voice? And of course, like after this, I end up getting a YouTube channel. Like, it's like seriously nails on a chalkboard.
Have you on? So what's going on?
So I'm kind of a disaster. I have 9
Still
jobs,
true.
which feels like too many jobs. So I work for marketing for a CBD company. That's about 10 hours a week and about $3,000 per month. I do marketing for a dog CBD company, different company. That's about 5 hours a week, about $1,200 per month. I also do marketing and SEO, things like that, for a psychic medium. So that's about 8 hours per week and $1,000 monthly. I'm also that particular psychic medium's personal assistant. So sometimes we travel together, and that would be a lot more time, obviously. But if we're not traveling, it's about maybe an hour per week just responding to emails and shipping out items from her shop. And that's about $200 to $750 monthly, and unless we're traveling, that's about $2,000.
Okay.
And then I do, getting to the astrology stuff, I'm an astrologer, so I probably see 1 to 4 clients a week. So that would be about like 4 hours a week if there's 4, 1 hour if there's 1. And then some special events, so I do parties and things like that. So that can range from like 400 if I'm not putting a lot of time into it, to 2,000 if I'm really booked. I'm a yoga instructor, so I make about $600 a month, 12 hours per week. Definitely my least lucrative.
Yeah.
And then I write horoscopes. That makes me about $400, and it's about an hour per week. And then my last job was the only thing that's passive, and I think I got a little addicted to passive income. I basically have been writing articles, and the website that I write for, you get paid based on reach. It's similar to YouTube in that way. And I had a couple articles go viral, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. All my other jobs, I have to work so many hours in, and this just grows on its own. So
What's actually so funny is that I missed a job on this video. Like, in it, he blended like my astrologer with like going to events. And I miss that I work for the Astrology app, doing marketing and like social media and stuff. So Nui, which I've spoke to you guys about before, is where I do marketing and social media writing. But I was like so nervous when he was like, hey, I counted 8. I was like, oh, I got all confused. And I was like, oh, maybe I meant like when I do astrology for events, that's a different job. I'm such a dweeb. I can't.
That final job, that's what led me to your work, and I enrolled in your YouTube course, which I really love, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm getting a lot of value from it. So I'm looking to dive more into passive income, because as you know, it's super addicting.
Right.
So those are all my jobs, yeah.
So you're actually making some pretty decent income between 9 jobs. I mean, what's the total? I was trying to add this up as you went along, but we went a little fast.
Kind of
What? Yeah. How much? What's the total that you make every month from this?
It ranges from about 7,000 to the most I've ever made in 1 month was 11,000.
Wow. And how many hours is that total that you would guess? Again, I'm trying to add up hours here.
Yeah, so hours, see, on paper, it comes out to about 44 hours, which isn't crazy, but I think I'm just so scattered because of all of these jobs that it feels like I'm working so much more because I'm like, oh, did I post for the dog CBD company? Oh, did I send out monthly horoscopes? Like, it's just kind of diverting my attention. It feels like so much more.
Yeah, that was like a comment that reading through the comments, which like, ouch, looking at the comments on this. Yeah, YouTube will definitely make you grow a thicker skin. But people were like, 44 hours, it's not that much. And I just want to emphasize that I just was scattered. Like, I know it's not that much time. I just was so all over the place that I felt like I couldn't grow one thing because my energy was just everywhere. And it was like, seriously, I was having a meltdown every single week without fail. And it just wasn't fair to, my boyfriend, who would always have to like console me all the time because I was so stressed out because I missed posting for this or I missed a newsletter for this. And it just wasn't working and I was drained more than anything. So it's not that it was a crazy amount of workload. It's just when you have your attention spread over so many different areas, you're bound to miss a couple of things. You just are.
But on a really packed week, it might get up to 60, but typically it's about 44 hours per week. But I just feel really scattered, if that makes sense. So I mostly wanted to talk to you to see, from your perspective, do you think it's a wiser decision to like really focus on the things that are making lots of money, or continue to just build income as much as possible with all these different streams?
Well, the first thing I would do is get rid of the yoga. I mean, I think 12 hours a week for $600 a month compared to what else you're making in other your jobs, I think the yoga, I mean, that's just the least profitable thing, and it takes up a significant amount of time based on what I'm.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Graham. It's so true. And it took this, like the current state of the world right now, the pandemic at the time being, for me to like rip off the Band-Aid that was yoga. Everything else is just me, in this office by myself, besides, Zooming with clients, seeing some clients. And so I really feared that when I let go of the yoga that I would like lose all social skills, because that was like my social time to bond with people. And I would also, meet potential clients when I was there teaching. And I just couldn't get rid of it. Even though I knew I was not making money and it was draining my energy and I was there all the time, I was like, I can't not do it. It's so part of me. But when the pandemic hit, we all got laid off. So it just kind of forced me to. And honestly, now I've been working by myself in this room and I'm doing fine. I haven't lost my social abilities. I get to work out myself more often because I'm not so like frantic, always trying to sequence classes and things like that. At the time of this, after that call, I was like, oh, I can't do it. Like, there's no way. But yeah, the pandemic kind of forced me to take Graham's advice. And honestly, I will say on the other end of it, I have so much more time. I mean, like getting laid off from yoga was why I was able to start doing YouTube. So thank you, Graham, for your advice. And I'm sorry I didn't take it right away.
I think you're working at most, it seems like, doing yoga more than marketing, more than SEO, more than anything else. You're doing yoga for the least amount of money. So I would. It seems like getting clients as an astrologer. I mean, that seems like that is going to yield a lot more money, or continuing to write articles and work online. I'm seeing that as bringing in the most amount of money, and that's also something that's scalable. I mean, even just going and making YouTube videos about like the astrology of the day. You could.
Now I'm doing it, Graham.
Because it's almost like a daily thing, and I don't know how that would bode for the YouTube algorithm to post a whole bunch of like 1 to 3 minute videos, but at the very least, I mean that is income that you could start building up or start doing. No, actually, instead of daily, because that's not going to give you a lot of residual views. Do monthly or do yearly, like the. I'm a Taurus, so we got to talk about my astrology here. But like for instance, you could do.
I giggle so much. Can someone tell me to stop giggling, please? Because watching this back, I'm like, girl, I get you're nervous, but you're giggling. And then someone else commented, they were like, sounds like you're flirting with Graham. No, I just giggle a lot. I'm just a giggler, and this makes me realize that I have a problem.
Do like the Taurus monthly, and in that way, for that month, you could probably get a decent amount of views, or you could do like a Taurus annually. And that way, you just got to make one good video every single year, and maybe you could even update it like halfway through the year, something like that. I think, but besides that, I mean, I would cut out the lower paying jobs or things that are just distracting you from making more money, because you're doing so many things. Like,
it's too many things.
I gotta say, it is too many. It's too many things. So I would start small. I would honestly start by cutting out yoga. I would just cut that out, and then you have 12 hours extra per week that you can try to spend in other areas where you can start making more money. So I would cut out yoga, and then use that time in something else, and just see how that turns out, and see if you start doing better work and making more money. And if you do, then go to the next thing that's kind of distracting. It doesn't need to be necessarily the thing that's making the least amount of money, just something that maybe is the most distracting to you.
Right, okay. So just kind of look at the jobs that kind of pay the least and are distracting from the big vision of it all, and start working with those. And you're okay with me giving up being a yoga instructor and starting to pay for a membership. That's been my whole thing, is that I get it for a membership if I teach, and I give that up, then I can start paying.
Yeah, but if you work, here's the thing, like if you work an extra 1 hour, if you work an extra one client, that'll pay for your yoga, and you're spending 12 hours. You gotta think, what is 12 hours of your time worth?
Ooh.
Very true. That's very true.
You can make way
really
more.
Enjoy. Yeah. I really enjoy that you're a Taurus. Taurus rules personal finances, money. So that's actually perfect that you're a Taurus.
Oh, okay. So what is my horoscope looking like right now?
Okay, perfect. So can I go ahead and start?
Yes. Let's do it.
Excellent.
I'm excited about this. I did not expect this to happen today. So let's hear it.
I literally can't do this. I don't know. I literally am having like, I need to calm down. I haven't watched this part back because I just remember I literally was like blacking out while doing this reading. I swear I'm a good astrologer. But during this reading, I just remember after I was like, what just happened? Like I literally didn't remember one thing. And I think it was just like nerves. I know I was all over the place. I have not listened to this yet just because I was like, so Graham, if you watch this, please let me give you a better reading or like a full length reading. I'm so happy to. I feel like I did not do it justice. And I hate it when like, I hate that it was him that I gave this like frantic reading to, because I think people who are more apprehensive about astrology, it's really essential to be hitting them with the facts. And if I remember this correctly, this was a hot mess. I literally, oh my God.
What am I up against? What do I gotta watch out for?
So you are a Taurus. So your big threes, your main three energies, you are a Taurus sun, an Aries moon, and a Libra rising. So Taurus, as I mentioned earlier, is the sign of being very patient. It rules personal finance. Taurus is a very hardworking, diligent sign, which clearly comes through your channel. With the moon in Aries, tells me Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it is the sign of being self-reliant and independent and going after what you want. With an Aries moon, moon is the side of ourselves that we need to feel safe and secure, or like to build out our world on. So for your Aries,
what am I even saying? Literally, what am I saying?
Feel independent, feel self-sufficient, and do things for yourself. Aries moon is a very like go out and get what you want rather than waiting or rather your sun is constituting your 7th house, those are related. So Libra and 7th house is about other people, one-to-one contact. I would imagine that this is kind of attributing to your success as a realtor, because when you talk to someone, Libra energy is really able to kind of mirror what that person is back to them. So they tend to be very skilled in one-to-one dialogue, connections, things like that.
I can't even look at his face because this makes me like so nervous.
Another thing I want to mention is Venus, which is the planet of money. Clearly, your Venus is very happy. It's exalted in the sign of Pisces, which is interesting to me. But so when you have a happy money planet, which it is, it's happy. It's in its favorite sign to be in. The ability of Venus, which is love, which is money, which is pleasure, is able to operate at its fullest capacity. So your Venus is also talking to your Mercury and Taurus, giving you a lot of ability to clearly monetize the way that you speak, the way you communicate. Mercury rules speaking and communicating, and it's in the sign of Taurus, which is very abundant. You also have a heavy concentration in 6th house, which rules working with people, employers, actual work of service. So even though this is like someone who genuinely will probably never stop working, because it looks like you find a lot of pleasure from it. With Moon in the 6th house, it's actually something you need to feel fulfilled, is to be of service to other people. It might maybe not make you money, but there's some part of yourself where you need to be working or to be useful for other people. And then the final note that I'll say is that your midheaven, which is like the peak of your reputation and your career, you have Jupiter right along it, which is Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance and expansion. And when it's on your peak of career, it's once you move into what you're meant to do, or your midheaven offering to the world, things kind of magnetize towards you. It's a really, really abundant placement. So yeah, that's just a little
So
thing.
that's amazing. So am I in the peak of my career right now? Is that what that means?
It's the planet of eccentricity and changes. It's going over your sun and your Mercury. I would say the peak of your career actually is going to be in about 10 years, is when it's going to cross over your midheaven and shake things up. But right now it's still like in a building phase, but things could come up within this transit of the Uranus over your planets will be about 2.5 years. So look for things that are unexpected. Don't place, I feel like you wouldn't, but don't place bets on things that aren't really stable, because Uranus is really up and down. It's passing your sun and your Mercury in the realm of other people's money. So just something to be mindful of in terms of investment in the next 2.5 years.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Thank you so much. That's fun. I did not expect that. For anyone who stuck around who's listened to that, thank you. That is that's very cool. Thank you. It's enlightening.
Of course, yes. Happy to.
Thank you. Subscribe button. I post it pretty much daily, so if you want to be a part of it there, feel free to add me there. Thank you again for watching, and until next time.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I just remember after that call, I was like, what did I even say on that reading? Like, oh my gosh. Graham, I'm so happy to give you a full-length reading. I feel like that was not doing you justice at all, or your chart justice. Most readings are like an hour to like hour and 15 minutes, and I had no idea that's where the conversation was going to go. So I was just like, oh my gosh. And just if it's someone you admire, you just get a little nervous. But my advice, if anyone is in a similar space that I was, because I've actually trimmed down a lot of my jobs. So as I mentioned, the pandemic made me kind of let go of yoga. And then I no longer am the personal assistant working marketing for the medium any longer. I still love her and I love her work. It was just coming to a point where I was so drained and so scattered that I had nothing to give to like the personal people within my life. And it's not fair. I mean, I'm all about hustling. I'm all about, passive income and personal finance. But if it comes to a point where you are like lashing out at the people around you because you're so stressed and you're not able to take care of yourself, something needs to change. And maybe that's not necessarily the case for every profession, but if you're an astrologer, a tarot reader, or something in this space, it's an energetic field. So if you are drained, you are not going to give your best readings. Like, you know, this was filmed at a time that I was like so drained and exhausted. And I feel like it even showed in that like all over the place reading. So right now I only work, let's see, I work for the astrology app Nui. I work for Haley Comet Astrology, giving readings. I do still work for the CBD companies. So is that it? I do events, but the pandemic, you know, kind of affected that. Yeah. So, you know, I trimmed down, but I'm actually, what's funnier is I'm making more. I'm making more than I was. Just because when you dial back and you scale your energy, you are in a space of being able to receive. When you're so full, you can't really receive that much. So much fun. That was really cringy, but I had to, you know, face it eventually. I hadn't listened to that reading because I was just so embarrassed about it all. And a lot of like the comments were like, she's not really an employee, she's a sole proprietor with clients. And that's actually very true. This was at a time that I was like, I'd recently quit my 9 to 5, so I was still in a mindset of, you know, like being employed and not really take into account like, oh wait, no, I'm my own boss now. Like this is like what I do. Some people are saying I'm bonkers, I'm out to lunch. I like lunch. You know, when people are like, oh, astrology is stupid, sure, that's fine. Go, like I'm not in a space of trying to convince anyone that astrology is for them. I loved how open Graham was to hearing it out. Because I totally understand. It seems kind of, you know, crazy, but I'm not in a space where that like hurts my feelings or anything. So when people hit me with that stuff, I'm like, okay, that's great. It works for me. So live in your own reality and I'll live in mine. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have the most beautiful day. Thank you, Graham, again for the financial advice. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.